Today, I'll be explaining Kabiri Azab, an Indonesian horror movie that is deeply connected to faith, fear, and what happens after death. Before we dive into the story, there's something very important we need to understand. In Islam, Muslims firmly believe that life does not end after death. What happens inside the grave is extremely important. And today's story is about a girl who completely rejects this belief. This is the story of a girl who didn't believe in the punishment of the grave at all. She believed that once a person dies, everything simply ends. But fate had something far more terrifying planned for her. The story begins when this girl dies while doing something dangerous, and even after dying, she doesn't realize that she's dead. Suddenly, a voice behind her asks, "Man Rabuka?" And that's where the real horror begins. We are taken back to the past. We see a small bakery run by a simple Muslim family. The parents work hard alongside their two children. The boy's name is Adil, and the girl's name is Sita. They are a family of 4, loving and close to each other. But financially, they're struggling. Their bakery isn't doing well, and income is very low. Nearby, a big modern bakery, backed by foreign investment, has started offering heavy discounts. Because of this, customers stop coming to Adil's family bakery. Their situation becomes worse day by day. At the same time, Sita's uncle suggests something painful. He tells Sita's father to send both children to a madrasa, so at least they'll get free education and food. But Sita's father refuses. He says, "No matter how hard life becomes, my family will stay together." Then 2 kids came along and started bothering Adil. Sita noticed what they were doing and scolded them herself, forcing them to leave. Adil is a timid and quiet boy, so he didn't say anything or try to stand up for himself. Later that day, Adil is alone at the bakery while the adults are busy working. Suddenly, 3 strange men enter the shop. One of them talks to Adil's mother, asking about the food. But Adil notices something strange. A man standing outside, staring at him. That man looks nervous. He's wearing headphones and listening to something very carefully. From his face, it's clear. Whatever he's hearing is filling him with fear and panic. The man suddenly comes close to Adil. He hands him a cassette tape and says something shocking. "Only by seeking refuge in Allah can we be saved from this place. We must die in Allah's way. We must fight the enemies." Adil doesn't understand any of this. Before leaving, the man gives one final warning. "Don't go outside. It's very dangerous out there." Moments later, chaos breaks out. The 3 men were actually thieves. One of them grabs money from the cash counter and runs away. Sita informs her parents immediately. Without thinking twice, their parents rush outside to chase the thief. Adil and Sita stay inside the shop, watching everything through the glass. Suddenly, a massive bomb blast shakes the entire street. People scream, smoke fills the air, bodies are thrown everywhere. Everyone outside dies instantly, including Sita and Adil's parents. The children stand frozen, watching their parents die in front of their eyes. Soon after, we see Adil and Sita sitting inside a police station. The police tell them the bomber was last seen near their bakery. They begin questioning the children. Adil remembers the cassette tape and is about to mention it. But Sita stops him. She wants to hear the cassette first. She wants to understand what could make someone kill innocent people, and even kill himself. That night, Sita played the cassette. What comes out of it is horrifying. Terrifying screams. People are crying. Voices begging for mercy. It sounds like hundreds of people being tortured at once. Then a voice speaks clearly from the tape. The first question in the grave. "Who is your Lord?" At that moment, it becomes clear, the cassette contains the recorded torment of the grave. A few days after the tragedy, we see a major change in Sita's life. She has now been enrolled in a madrasa, but Sita doesn't look peaceful here. Her eyes are distracted, her mind clearly disturbed by what she has experienced. During class, the teacher begins explaining one of the most frightening topics in Islam, the punishment of the grave. The teacher explains how, after death, The soul enters the grave and faces questioning and consequences based on one's deeds in this world. The teacher says that the very first question asked after death is, "Who is your Lord?" If a person fails to answer, the grave itself becomes a place of torture. The earth presses in from all sides, the body is crushed, and the torment continues until the day of judgment. The teacher reminds the students that the grave is the beginning of the afterlife, and whatever happens there depends entirely on a person's faith and actions. At this point, Sita raises her hand. She asks something shocking: if doubt exists, then why should someone be punished in the grave, and why does religion always use fear to control people? From her question, it becomes clear, Sita doesn't believe in the punishment of the grave at all. In fact, after her parents' sudden and violent death, Sita has lost her faith completely. She believes that fear of the punishment in the grave is exactly what pushed the bomber to kill innocent people. In her mind, religion caused that tragedy. The teacher responds firmly, saying, "Everything we believe comes from the Quran. As a Muslim, belief is not optional. If you deny these truths and die in this state, the punishment of the grave will begin immediately." But Sita doesn't listen. Her face shows defiance, not fear. Later, Sita meets her younger brother Adil, who also studies at the same madrasa. After their parents' death, their uncle forced both of them to study here. The two siblings secretly plan to run away that very night. They discover there are two ways out: the main gate, which is guarded, and a dark, abandoned tunnel, which everyone fears. People say strange things happen inside that tunnel. Adil tells Sita something important. The man who gave him the cassette had recorded the sounds himself. He didn't just hear the punishment of the grave. He experienced it. That man recorded the screams because he wanted proof. Sita responds coldly, "That's exactly why I'm leaving this place. I'll prove there is no punishment in the grave. I'll go to that man's grave myself and show the world there's nothing to fear." Determined, both siblings enter the tunnel. As they move forward, Adil starts struggling to breathe. The air feels heavy. Oxygen barely circulates. Sita also feels it but keeps moving. Soon, she realizes Adil is no longer behind her. Suddenly, a boy appears in front of her, wearing the same madrasa uniform. Sita asks, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" The boy replies in a disturbing voice, "My name is Ismail." The sound of his voice alone sends chills down Sita's spine. Terrified, she starts running. Sita finally exits the tunnel and sees her brother Adil being held by teachers and staff members. Moments later, a woman named Amaya, a kind-hearted teacher, arrives. As punishment for trying to escape, Sita is forced to wear a red hijab. In the madrasa, a red hijab is a symbol of sin and shame, a mark that tells everyone a girl has done something wrong. Sita later asks Amaya about the boy named Ismail. The moment Amaya hears that name, her expression changes completely. She looks shocked, almost frightened. Before she can explain anything, a senior teacher enters the room, and Amaya falls silent. That night, while studying, Sita overhears a conversation between Amaya and the senior teacher. Quietly, she moves closer and listens. Amaya says, "We have to stop him. He's destroying children's lives." But the senior teacher replies, "There's no proof. And he donates a lot of money. He's important for the future of this madrasa." Amaya then says something terrifying. Ismail couldn't handle what was done to him. He killed himself. She asks, "Who will be sent to him next?" The senior teacher replies calmly, "Adil." At that moment, Sita understands everything. They are talking about the owner of the madrasa, a respected man hiding a monstrous secret. And now, her brother Adil is his next target. Sita runs toward the owner's house in panic. From a distance, she sees Adil sitting inside. Before she can reach him, security catches her, and Adil is dragged away. Sita is captured as well. Sita is locked inside the owner's house. Panic and fear slowly take over her. After struggling for a long time, she finally manages to escape. Outside, she sees Amaya, who had secretly come to help her. Umayya gives Sita some food, fresh clothes, and a torchlight. Without asking any questions, she helps Sita escape from the madrasa. While running, Sita notices the owner's car parked nearby. A terrible thought hits her. Adil might be inside that car. To distract the driver, Sita starts throwing stones at the vehicle. When the driver and guard step out to investigate, Sita rushes forward, pulls Adil out, and the two siblings run for their lives. They don't stop running until they reach the entrance of the tunnel again. They know they can't return to their uncle's house. The same uncle who sent them to this place. With no destination and no plan, they enter the tunnel once more, hoping it will lead them somewhere safe. Inside the tunnel, Adil is terrified. His breathing becomes heavy, and fear freezes him in place. Sita walks ahead, but after a while, she realizes Adil is no longer behind her. When she turns around, she sees Ismail again. This time, his appearance is horrifying. His face looks as if it's melting away. Ismail asks Sita for help. Terrified, Sita runs. She runs blindly until she sees Adil sitting on the ground, covering his mouth and nose, shaking in fear, as if he has seen something unspeakable. Without asking questions, they start running together again. After running endlessly through darkness, they finally see light ahead. They make it out alive. Years pass. Now grown up, Sita works as a nurse in a nursing home, while Adil works washing dead bodies and burying them. Their professions aren't random. Sita wants to observe death closely. Adil is surrounded by it every day. At the nursing home, we are introduced to several residents. There's a blind woman named Jayuta, who claims she can sense spirits. There's also an elderly couple, Mr. Pandey and Mrs. Nanny, deeply in love despite their age. Another resident proudly watches his daughter on television. She's a famous TV presenter. Sita also takes care of an old man named O'Hare. When his children visit him, he refuses to talk to them and orders them to leave. When his daughter insults Sita, she feels humiliated and walks away. Later, Sita finds O'Hare crying like a small child, calling out for his mother. Sita gently puts him to bed, treating him like a helpless child. Sita secretly records O'Hare's strange behavior on her phone. This isn't the first time. She has recorded many such moments. Later, while watching these videos, she also watches a scientific discussion claiming that ghosts and spirits are nothing more than hallucinations caused by lack of oxygen. According to science, when oxygen levels drop, the brain creates images based on fear and belief. Sita fully accepts this explanation. She convinces herself that what she saw in the tunnel, Ismail, was nothing but a hallucination. Meanwhile, Adil continues washing dead bodies. Sita visits him and makes her belief clear. There is no punishment in the grave. Everything she's doing, working in a nursing home, Adil dealing with corpses, is part of her long experiment. She wants proof. The bomber from their childhood believed killing others would save him from the punishment of the grave. That's why he murdered innocent people. Sita sees this belief as a dangerous superstition. She even locates the bomber's grave and observes it closely. Nothing happens. Adil warns Sita to stop. He reminds her about seeing Ismail in the tunnel. But Sita brushes it off, insisting it was only because of lack of oxygen. Then she says something chilling. I know someone far worse than that bomber. A man who has committed unforgivable sins. I'm just waiting for him to die. Adil asks for the name. Sita stays silent. Soon after, Adil's wife throws him out of the house, accusing him of neglect. Adil leaves, broken and alone. At the same time, Sita quietly walks toward O'Hare's room. The same man she's been observing all along. Sita enters O'Hare's room alone. The man suddenly starts questioning her aggressively, asking whether she believes in God, whether she believes in religion, and whether she believes in punishment after death. From the way he speaks, it's clear. O'Hare doesn't believe in the afterlife either. Like Sita, he believes death is the end of everything. Sita then asks him something unexpected. She asks about the madrasa in their village. The moment she mentions it, O'Hare's face changes. Slowly, the truth comes out. O'Hare is the owner and head of that madrasa. A man respected by society. A man trusted with children. But behind that image lies a horrifying reality. O'Hare admits that he abused more than 50 children. And among those children was Adil. He explains how he hid his crimes behind donations, charity, and religious influence. People praised him, while children suffered silently. O'Hare then says something chilling. "I don't fear death. I want to see my own death. I want to see if there is really any punishment in the grave." This is the moment Sita's true intention becomes clear. This is why she took the job at the nursing home. She wanted to be present when he died. Adil overhears the entire conversation from outside. Unable to control his emotions, he rushes inside and grabs O'Hare by the throat. Years of buried pain and trauma explode. Sita screams at Adil to stop. After a moment, Adil lets go. Soon after, O'Hare commits suicide, shooting himself. The nursing home falls into chaos. But O'Hare's family refuses to make the death public, fearing disgrace. Because of this, Adil is secretly assigned to wash O'Hare's dead body. As Adil washes the corpse, rage and disgust consume him. The next day, Sita and Adil stand near O'Hare's grave. Sita wants to conduct her final experiment. She wants undeniable proof. Sita lies down inside the grave beside O'Hare's body. Adil covers the grave from above. Inside, Sita turns on her camera. For the first time, fear enters her heart. He notices a snake nearby. She sees insects crawling through a small hole. But nothing else happens. No voices. No angels. No punishment. The night passes. Morning comes. Sita comes out of the grave convinced. There is no punishment in the grave. Now fully confident, Sita approaches the elderly man whose daughter is a TV presenter. She asks him to arrange a television appearance. She wants to tell the world the truth. On live television, Sita tells her entire story. She speaks about religion, fear, the bombing incident, and O'Hare's crimes. She claims that punishment in the grave is nothing but a man-made fear. She argues that if punishment truly existed, a man like O'Hare would have faced it. But he didn't. And that, according to her, proves everything. Sita believes she has won. But what she doesn't realize, her words have just unleashed something terrifying upon the world. Back at the nursing home, Sita is furious. The video she recorded inside the grave doesn't play properly on TV. She accuses the show's producers of editing it. Then she turns toward Adil, blaming him for sabotaging everything. Sita humiliates her brother in front of everyone. For the first time, Adil finally speaks back. He tells her the truth she never wanted to hear. He says that because of her stubbornness, he lost his faith. Because of her, their parents died that day. He reminds her that he begged her not to tell their parents about the thief, but she did. That's why their parents went outside. That's why they died. Adil also accuses Sita of using the nursing home residents for her own experiment. He says once her purpose is fulfilled, she doesn't care about these helpless people anymore. These words break Sita completely. She goes back to her room, hugs her parents' photos, and cries uncontrollably. Suddenly, strange noises come from O'Hare's old room. Sita goes to check. She sees a shadowy figure, but it disappears instantly. Before she can understand anything, Mrs. Nanny approaches her, trembling. Nanny tells Sita that her husband, Mr. Pandey, cheated on her. When Sita confronts him, she finds him with another nurse. Nanny is devastated. She tells Pandey never to come near her again. Sita insists that Nanny should stay alone for some time. Reluctantly, Pandey agrees. Sita takes Nanny to another house. But there, something horrifying happens. Nanny suddenly wets herself. Embarrassed, she puts her dirty clothes into the washing machine. Then she notices her wedding ring is missing. Thinking it fell inside the machine, she bends in to search for it. By accident, the washing machine turns on. Nanny's hair gets caught. Nanny dies instantly. Alone. Pandy blames Sita for Nanny's death. Sita is completely shattered. Her confidence begins to crack. Desperate for answers, Sita goes to the blind woman, Jayita. She asks her directly, "You can see spirits, right? Let me see one with my own eyes." Jayita replies calmly, "You will only see them when you truly believe." Later that night, a ritual is arranged. Candles are lit. Sita, Jayita, Pandy, and others sit around a table. Jayita calls upon her grandmother's spirit. Slowly, the spirit appears and takes control of Jayita's body. Pandy speaks to the spirit, begging for forgiveness. The spirit responds coldly, "If you want peace after death, you must kill the nurse who sedated you." Sita immediately objects. She says this is wrong. Suddenly, Sita sees Nanny's spirit sitting beside her. Terrified, she opens the window and breaks the ritual. She tells everyone it's time for lunch. Everyone leaves, but fear remains. From this moment on, the world begins to fall apart. Faith turns into fear. Fear turns into violence. And Sita realizes she may have been wrong. Religious leaders claim the punishment of the grave has begun. She decides to return to the grave. This time, alone. The coffin lid closes. Darkness surrounds her. Inside the grave, whispers grow louder. The soil begins to move. Inside the grave, Sita is completely trapped. The soil presses in from all sides. For the first time, Sita feels absolute fear.
She sees that Tanner has come inside. There she spots Ismail. Scared of Ismail, she tries to run away but then sees her brother washing the dead. After that, Sita walks into their bakery shop. The atmosphere here is completely different from the outside world. When Sita goes inside, she sees a thief trying to take money from the cash register, while her parents are standing outside watching. Sita then lets the thief go. After that, she sees her parents leaving the place, saying goodbye to her. Seeing this, Sita cries a lot. He keeps doing it and thinks that people die exactly the way their deaths are written. Even if he wanted to, that day he couldn't have saved his parents. That's when Sita realizes she was completely wrong to waste that whole year. Here, Sita understands her mistake. Then she sees Ismail again. He was asking her for help. The abuse Ismail suffered still haunts him even after death. At that moment, Sidar grabs his hand and jumps off the tunnel, freeing Ismail from it forever. But Sita is seen inside a grave. She's lying next to Wahyu's corpse, and from this, you can tell it's the same scene from the day Sita first entered Wahyu's grave. You can even see the camera in Sita's hand. Sita notices that the hole where the bug went in earlier is now the same hole the snake is slipping through. And that's the very snake Adil left outside the grave. Then the snake moves straight toward Wahyu and slithers into his mouth. After that, Wahyu sits up inside the grave, and his judgment begins. Since Wahyu was an atheist and did a lot of bad things while alive, he can't answer any questions. The punishment starts right away. First, his face gets slammed hard against an iron dome, then it goes back to normal and then it gets slammed again. This goes on for a long time. Blood splatters from O'Hare's face and lands on Sita's face. Seeing all this, Sita feels terrible and starts screaming out of fear. Her whole body goes numb. Then the snake appears, now huge and terrifying, with a hood spreading around its head. The snake keeps biting O'Hare's face over and over. Each time his face heals, the snake bites him again. This goes on for a long time, and Sita watches everything with her own eyes. Sita was terrified and prayed to Allah for help, asking for forgiveness for all her sins. She wanted to repent a lot but couldn't. Then somehow, Sita managed to repent with someone's help. Right after that, her brother Adil was raised from the grave. Adil himself looked really sick. His face was all messed up like someone had beaten him. Then the two of them started to run away, and Sita told her brother, "We have to survive." Suddenly, someone shouted from behind. In the final scene of the movie, you see a video of Uhai saying something before his death. Someone was watching a record where a high was saying that if there really is punishment after death, it depends on what you're most afraid of, and that's what you'll face. Then a hand appears, and it was Mrs. Nanny's hand. From afar you hear a voice, that was Mr. Pandy's. And that's where the story ends.